is that the Sudbury Community Threat Assessment Protocol, which is aimed at preventing violence.
Can you say that again? The Threat Prevention Protocol? What is this?
Sudbury Community Threat Assessment Protocol.
Wow, that's a thing.
Yeah. So there's it's many groups. There was really 2 stories about it today, but many groups have kind of come together, and they've looked at tragic events in the past, and they've kind of done studies on places like Columbine, Sandy Hook, and here at home in Sudbury, and they've kind of come up with certain protocols.
Yeah.
And to kind of make it, the general idea is that the pandemic seems to have worsened these criteria with which they measure, the severity or the likelihood of these terrible events. Violent, incidents.
Interesting.
So there's an increased level of threat making or threat-related behavior, which are cries for help. So Cameron says that there's an increased worry about school shootings, violence, other things like suicidality.
Uh-huh.
I don't know. This sounds like something you would have an opinion on.
I do.
You constantly talk about this.
Yeah.
Like every time we bring up, anything to do with the pandemic, your first thing is, well, what about all the downstream effects or psychological effects?
Yeah,
I thought you'd be chomping at the bit to talk
all the
about
ripple
this.
effects. It is true, right? Like if you look at, I think there were more suicide deaths in the United States than there were deaths, COVID deaths.
But they call that not just suicide, but they call it deaths of despair. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
So mostly suicide.
For sure. Again, right, all of the, the protocol that we took to fight the pandemic, obviously you say, okay, well, is the solution worse than the problem? Or is the solution going to cause any other things? In business, you have to do an assessment of that. So you say,
sure,
we want to introduce something new. Okay, well, it could cause a problem. Example. So one time Pizza Hut said, we're going to have the greatest marketing campaign anyone ever seen in their whole life. Pizza Hut hired a bunch of celebrities, and they gave away these 2 pizza deal with a 2-liter pop, and it was like the killer deal of a lifetime. Celebrities were endorsing it. Well, actually, that marketing campaign was too good. It overwhelmed all the stores. All the stores were complaining.
No way.
And everyone was getting the deal, and the stores weren't making any money, and they had to actually stop that marketing campaign and ended up having to pay all those celebrities because they had a contract.
Sure.
So it was a great marketing campaign. Great idea, Who doesn't want a great marketing campaign with great results? It had one of the greatest results of a marketing campaign ever.
Yeah.
But it hurt their operations. They weren't able to operate. They weren't able to deliver, no pun intended because it's pizza.
Yeah.
They weren't able to deliver on the marketing campaign because it was too good. Too many people wanted it, and they didn't have the infrastructure to support it. So similar, COVID, okay, we have a deadly virus, right? And then we need to combat that. So let's put out a campaign just like Pizza Hut. Say, okay, we're going to put out the best ways we feel we're going to combat this.
Sure.
Well, anyways, those ways caused all kinds of other problems, which were probably worse than just allowing that deadly virus to run its course, is what, we talk about on a daily basis. So that's my opinion.
Sure.
And that's all that it is. And I know you at home have an opinion, and Zach has an opinion, Billy has an opinion. And that's what I love about that, is that we can all have an opinion.
Yeah, you can put it in
Get
the
along.
comments if you're on Facebook Live.
You know what? Facebook Live comments, we welcome those. And
we're one of the only Sudbury organizations that allow comments.
It's true. One of the only news organizations in town that will allow comments on Facebook, correct?
I'm starting to understand why.
Me too, because there's a lot of people passionate about different issues.
Very
right?
passionate.
Very
yeah.
passionate.
Nothing wrong with passion, but when it becomes,
Yeah.
Sometimes it gets a little heated,
a little out of hand, right?
a little out of hand. So,
Speaking of, is that
no,
where
I
you're
wasn't going to
going?
transition yet. So, Chief Paul Peterson, Greater Sudbury Police Services, is one of the partners. There's roughly 20 partners in this protocol,
Yeah.
community threats and violence protocol.
Mm-hmm.
He says that police are not just committed to enforcing laws, but also intervening collaboratively to reduce elevated risks. So do you think that that would be something the police normally would do, is kind of reduce risk and intervene and,
Well, sometimes that can heighten things too, right? If the police are involved, it'll just escalate the whatever is happening.
if it gets out of hand, or if it's already kind of out of hand, the police
Yeah.
will elevate it, escalate it.
Possibly, I mean, that is a possibility.
They are experts in de-escalation.
Yeah, de-escalation.
They should be.
I'm all about de-escalation. That's what I'm all about. But yeah, no, there's a lot of pent-up things, anger and
Sure.
whatever from the pandemic, and everybody's been like
On edge.
kind of like kept as caged animals in a way, right? For a while. It feels like that anyways.
Sure.
All for our good, all for people that are, have good intentions to want to help, but might have some
Sure.
negative repercussions, as
Yeah.
we're talking about here.
Yeah.
But so people are, there's potential potential risks out there with, according to this organization, that we need to
Yeah.
watch out for. Now, police, I don't know. Yeah, it's terrible that we'd even having to have this conversation, but that this is a possibility.
Do they mention the metrics that they kind of look for?
Well, that's a good question. So there's like I said, there are 20 partners. There are all these organizations that kind of team up on all these things, and kind of come up with a protocol. And I guess, I don't know, when I kind of look at this violence threat risk assessment, it's kind of like it's like an index. It's like a threat. It's like a threat of violence index.
Mm-hmm.
So, like you were saying, when people get pent up, maybe they get upset on whole, not just an individual person, but
Yeah.
in general, that would cause this index to kind of increase.
Hmm.
So these partners come together, and there's a lot of them from all different parts of the community, and they kind of say, how can we bring this back down, kind of thing.
Yeah, and I think like Billy was saying, how do they gauge, like how do they know that there's a bunch
that's a
of
good question.
angry teenagers out there or angry young people? Yeah,
Well,
is
it's not
there
just
an
young
increase?
people, I think, but young people are especially at risk, I would say.
Oh, okay, yeah. Or there's a lot of violent crime.
Like
increase.
there's a reason why we have a stereotype of like a school shooter.
Okay.
Because at that age, you're like especially vulnerable
Mm-hmm.
to like emotional distress, I would think.
Yeah, possibly, for sure, yeah. Yeah.
I would think that's like a pretty, but
I'm just
yeah, I'm curious too what the protocol actually entails. But
mm-hmm.
I think, for now, it's important to point out, like, it's bad.
Yeah.
Like, it's not a
Not a
great,
good
great
thing.
time. Like, if you know somebody that's
Yeah.
alone or, has a propensity to be depressed,
Mm-hmm.
display violent behavior, it would be a really good time
Yeah.
to, like, check that out.
Well, I know it's taken a real toll on the mental health of our country. There's no doubt about it because it's,
Sure.
People are afraid. There's a deadly virus going around, and everybody's handling it different. Everyone has an
Yep.
opinion, and it's really not easy to process. And a lot of information's coming at everybody, and then everybody's their anxiety is getting all heightened.
Oh, yeah.
And this does affect people in different ways, and so yeah, I think I just didn't know that there was an organization like that were assessing that and monitoring it, the thermometer of all this, and then wondering how they're going to, deal with it.
Do they have like a, someone that they report to in government with a report, and then with ideas of like, is it Ontario or is it federal?
Oh,
Or
I think
local.
this is just a Sudbury thing.
Oh, okay.
Which is cool. Another part of the article, this is pulling from Sudbury.com, but I'm sure it's on other ones as well. It talks about the key partners, so community partners. So if you scroll down to the bottom of the article, there's Big Brothers, Cambrian College, Children's Community Network, City of Greater Sudbury, obviously. And there's many, many more. And the idea is these partners actually have on-the-ground interactions with people that might be high risk.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like making them aware, making community leaders, community people aware of this, so they can kind of be on the lookout.
Yeah.
And they can help.
Cool. Well, let's just.
Wish I had more specifics for you, but
That's
it
it.
just seems like
You heard it here
you know,
first.
this is. I think it's an under the surface problem.
For sure. Yeah, it's brewing.
Yeah.
It's like a volcano. Hey, AJ here. Did you like that video? Please like and subscribe for more just like it every weekday.
Share it with your friends so they can stay up to date with all Sudbury news.